A couple of years ago, we did a story on growing black walnut trees as a long-term investment in veneer hardwood. In January, we returned to the Mickey area for a Black Walnut Field Day. The topic of that meeting was generating income through nut production.
Long term, we know that the growth of the industry is going to require more nuts. And that's one of the key reasons that we feel like planting more black walnut trees is critical, and particularly for nut production. We also know that long term, for someone to take land that they may have been growing other things on or might be able to grow other things on and turn it into black walnut orchards is going to require that they make a return, a dollar return on their investment that's a little bit better than we can do with $13 or $12 a hundredweight nuts. Now, the key is the quality of those nuts. If someone is planting trees, raising trees for nut production, they're probably going to take good care of those nuts. They're probably also going to make sure that the nuts are as high valued as possible, which means a little bit thinner shell probably, and a little bit more nut meat. And the nut meat is the big item that has value to it.
For decades, people have made some extra cash by gathering wild black walnuts and selling them to commercial operations. Tennessee is fifth in the world for wild walnuts, contributing over 1 million pounds last year. There are 15 buying stations across the state. After the nuts are hulled, meaning the hard outer shell is removed, they are weighed and purchased at around $12 for 100 pounds. That price is based on a yield of only 7% nut meat per 100 pounds.
What if we could get 30 pounds or 30% yield? Well, that's a whole lot better. Certainly, we can pay a whole lot higher price for those nuts. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we are developing the mechanism to do.
So the focus is on planting orchards with improved varieties of nuts that yield more meat per pound. While growing walnut trees for logs is a 20 to 30 year investment, nut production can show a profit in about 8 years.
1,500 pounds to the acre at 75 cents a pound would be $1,125 an acre. Now that's pretty good. And you can have more pounds than that, have a little bit lesser price, and the math changes, but you take the harvesting cost, the hulling cost, the freight cost out of that, and you're still left with a net of in the $300 to $500 range per acre, which is pretty good. Now that is at maturity, and you've got a lot of costs in the early years of the life of the tree, but the overall economics look like, on the average over a 50-year lifespan, about a 6 to 8% average annual return on the investment.
The current economics of nut production make it difficult to use as a single source of income.
Most people will add it to their farm operation, have it enhance what they're already doing with livestock or crops or anything else. So they'll plant several acres and manage those as well. And a lot of people will have jobs in town, have a small acres of farmland, and they'll want to plant black walnut trees as a long-term investment and also a hobby to have fun with and something that will produce some cash. So we're saying it would probably be several hundred acres to be able to have the income from that operation alone, and it'll be several years to do that too.
For the black walnut farmer, the decision is whether to grow trees for wood production or for nut production.
The management scheme of producing black walnut for nut production is going to be different also. You'll plant some of these genetically improved varieties so that you know you're going to have good nut production, and then you'll manage it with wider spacings to the trees. You'll be particularly focused upon developing the crown of the tree so that you don't have a long straight stem. Rather, you've got a lot of branches and a lot of leaves, a lot of area that can produce nuts, produce fruit.